Well, as March signals that spring is upon us, the Lions hope their season blossoms into something beautiful. Today, Vanguard welcomes the Sea Lions of Point Loma in an effort to find some sunshine. With that, we say welcome to Dean Harvey Field in Costa Mesa, California. J.J. Johnson alongside Xander Zubiati. Zuby, the winter has been just dreary for the Lion faithful. It's an active 10-game losing streak, longest under Coach Pegg. If they're going to turn their season around, it has to start now.
It has to start, especially against a top team like Point Loma.
Vanguard is looking for signs of life for the team that was picked to finish 7th in the preseason poll. They're falling short of that mark right now, but this battle between the blue and gold and the green and gold begins courtesy of the arm of Caden Byers as the infield is going to play the pull against the leadoff man for Point Loma in May as the first pitch is in the heart of the zone. Caden Byers looking to go fast and efficient. Yes, he does, as Caden Byers has his first strikeout of the day, matching his strikeout total from his last outing, which is at Westmont, which, despite just the one strikeout, it was, Zuby, his best outing of the season so far, the 5 innings, and limiting the Westmont bats to just 1 run on the day.
It was a good showing.
Caden Byers now has a marvelous 103 career strikeouts, picked up his 100th strikeout at Jessup on February 13th, but despite the milestone for him, it was not a good outing. 3 1/3 for him, and that one 6 hits, 9 earned as Vanguard just got mollywopped that series, to be honest. They won their first conference game against Jessup, and they were feeling pretty good, 1-0 record, but since then they have dropped 10 in a row. They were swept the rest of the way by Jessup, losing the next 3, lost the next 4 against Westmont, dropped the midweek game to Azusa. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. And then, of course, they have lost the 2 to start this series with Point Loma as these two sides fared down in San Diego yesterday, or 2 days ago, my apologies, on Saturday, which was a weekend to forget after being outscored 26-1. This ball will be fouled off by Tristan Moore, the man from the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, that is, not the British ones.
Coming in with a 351 average, a 1,200 OPS, definitely doing something right.
This is a Point Loma outfit that is just filled with tremendous bats. I mean, when you look at what they're able to do, they're currently just a 1,000th of a percentage point behind Jessup for the best team in the Pac West in batting average. This ball is going to flare over to left field, and we'll get our first chance to meet Tyler Shiganaka, who's dancing over at the 7th spot defensively for Vanguard for the second out. Meet the rest of our umpire crew. As you mentioned, calling balls and strikes is Malik Coleman, Joe Shields, and Heath Jones. Working the field, Heath Jones making his second appearance at Dean Harvey Field. Had him earlier on in the season. That Stanislaus series he was here.
And he's very hard to miss. I mean, it's a mountain of a man.
I think he played some ball in his day. I'm talking about on the court.
I think he played everything. I mean,
left tackle.
I'm assuming he was at his high school. He was about the same height. So you have the football coach walk by and see him. You have the basketball coach walk by and see him. You're like, hey, what sport do you play? Not my sport? Well, that's changing today.
Point Loma, middle of the pack and stealing, but Vanguard's going to make sure that they don't tee off on him this time around. Last year, Vanguard won the battle in swiping them when these two sides faced off.
They're still showing their light tower power, and they're going up against the best of the best to start out their season.
Hank Smith knew it right away as Byers gets his second crooked K of the day. As we're right back to square one where we were in the first inning. Quick 2 outs, but can they just put it to bed, Zuby? Caden Byers on the 1-2. Yes, he did. He goes around as Byers has 3 Ks in a game for just the 3rd time this season. Vanguard does allow a runner on, but they blink. Loma in the top half will go to the bottom. Vanguard still down by 2. We'll see if Huggins tries to go off speed. He does, and it's pulled wide, 3-2.
I don't think he had the right angle to do that. Stay fair.
And Paymard has his first hit of the season, and it's ribby for him. Colton Perez comes on home as we've got an RBI double for Brian Paymard, who lost his hat in the process. The first base coach for today, and Chase Easter Harrison gathers it for him as Vanguard's got some motion on the ocean.
And the aggressive hitting from Paymard shows it right there.
Brings us back to the Dappy order in Tyler Shiganaka. And I tell you what, Zuby, that was much needed. We just talked about it. First hit of the season. The man who batted 119 a season ago has been struggling, but gets a start at third base today because that's been another question mark for Vanguard. Once again, it seems like we say this every year, but Brian Paymard trying to take the opportunity that's given to him and make something happen and not relinquish it. But it's 2-1 now. Vanguard, 2 runners in scoring position. A tailor-made situation for Tyler Shiganaka. Don't want to see that. Satch wide as Cook does a good job not letting it be a 2-2 ball game. Sea lions are amphibious creatures. There's blood in the water. They're hoping to return to land unscathed, though. You're into the bottom of the second.
Well, it's a lot better just doing the damage on Huggins right now into the mid-30s.
Bennett Vondrak, fan favorite, is giving some words of encouragement to his man in Shiggy, who golfs this one up in the air, and this should do it as the man Schwartz has the catch. But Brian Paymard's first hit of the season gives Vanguard some signs of life. It is 2-1. Point Loma leads. See, the walk-off was on the throwing error. Pulled over to Helene. He's going to go cut him off at 2, and a throw over on the 4-6-3 double play, but it does score 1. But at least it gets 2 outs on the board.
But that's a win you take.
Grand Canyon up the middle if Cook wants it. Instead, he lofts it into the air, and Jackson Davis with the white undersleeves. Once again, the infield playing the percentages. Again, just outside. This is a well-rested Point Loma team to beat. They had 9 days off between their end of the Chaminade series and the start of the Vanguard one, and that includes an earlier start time because remember the rain that happened in that series across all of California. They actually had to move it up earlier in the day to beat the rain. So takes strike, 2-2. 3 is normally the magic number, but not for Caden Byers right now. It's 3 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, 3 walks, 3 Ks. As he just threw his 57th pitch, which is a multiple of 3 as well, Zuby. Very true. High chopper over the head of Huggins. He yields to the all-conference player and Bernath from a season ago, who makes it look easy. The infield showing off their prowess in this bottom of the 4th. We go to the top of the 5th. Point Loma still up by 2.
For the Sea Lions, number 8.
Well, we talked about
Ryan.
that to end the inning that Bernath was an all-conference player from a season ago. Actually, the only returning all-conference player for Point Loma. They lost Entrican, who was a first-team designated hitter. They lost Reese, who was first team at second base, and they lost Meffert, who was the third-team outfielder. They also lost some of their pitchers, and Brandon Jackal, who was first team as a starter. Mayer was a third-team relief pitcher, and Sarhab was a second-team relief pitcher. As well, losing all those guys, and yet still they're off to their best start to conference play in their program history. I mean, make it make sense, Zuby.
Yeah.
Snatched wide is 1-1 as Point Loma has sent a couple men down. They might be seeing the writing on the wall for Huggins here as he's given up some contact, but at least, as we talked about, Point Loma has men to use. Even though the roster isn't as deep as Westmont's, this ball will be sawed off to right field. Will it find green? It will land halfway onto the wall. Paymar's got tremendous speed, losing the hat in the process as he's gone 2 for 2 to start this game. An unlikely source of multiple hits.
Yeah, and now showing both sides. A low line drive pulled.
We got the 1-2 with Huggins. High chopper. It looks like it'll be Bernath's play. He's got the squeeze, and we'll check in on Paymart over at third. Heady play by him, understanding there wasn't a play to be made at first, but maybe stealing out, making sure that Paymart stayed on his toes.
Yeah, and I mean, in his first 2 at-bats on the day, so could look for something.
Davis pulls through the right side. Vanguard's got another run on the board. Shiggy will hold that 2. 3-2 as Jackson Davis has his first hit of the afternoon.